Okay, this is just a quick video on how to use the rigged models that we have on the drive. Right here is the rigged modern player. Now when you open up this one, it already comes in pose mode, which means I can select the bones and immediately start working on reposing this model. If you open one of these up, chances are it'll just be in object mode, which means I can select the rig, I can select the model itself, but I can't pose it. So if this is the case, you would select the rig first and then select pose mode. Now I can select the individual bones, they turn blue, that's how you know that you're in the correct mode, and you can start moving this guy around. So we're just going to come up with a little basic quarterback stance. So you click on the bones and you hit R for Rogers, or R for rotate, to start to manipulate these bones. It's going to go in the direction from like how you're looking at the model. So you're going to spend a lot of time sort of changing the camera angle to change the rotation of the bones here. Now you have to be careful how far you push your rotations. You're going to get some crazy distortion in the mesh. So there is sort of a limit to how far you can go. Before, you'd probably just want to start with a different part altogether, because you can only take it so far without having to do a bunch of cleanup sort of after the fact. Okay, so we got a basic pose here. All right, so I want to go back to object mode. Now, if I want to actually start to work with this model, I can still get it back into its individual pieces. So this is believe it or not, a 6-part model. It's been combined, but we can separate it. The easiest way to separate that is to select the model, actually export it, export STL. We'll just call it pose. Hit selection only and hit export STL. With that exported, we're just going to delete everything and then import that pose back in. And there you go. There's other ways of doing it, but that is the sort of fastest way to make sure that the pose holds, and we eliminate the armature there. So now to separate this, we need to go into edit mode, which will take a second because in edit mode, it's turning the wireframe on. So depending on how dense the mesh is, how powerful your computer is, it can take a little while. Then you want to hit P for Packers, which brings up the separate menu, and we want to separate by loose parts. Again, it's going to take just a few seconds here. It's actually pretty quick, and now it's separated. You can see it's all the individual pieces here. The pants are still black because that's what's currently selected, and I am still in edit mode. So I'm going to go back to object mode, and now you can see I've got all my separated pieces here. If I'm going to keep working in Blender, I may want to go through and start to rename each of these, so I know exactly what part I'm working on. Otherwise, I can rename them as I export the files out. So now it's all separated. So from here, I might want to start to do a little bit of individual work on these pieces. So, sleeves don't line up here, so maybe I select the arm, hit G for grab, and then move that down a little bit, move it back a little bit. Same here, I'm going to bring it down, and like so. This way, I'm going to still go and work on the sleeve, but now I don't have to pull the sleeve as extreme as I would have had to there. So now with the body selected, I can go into sculpt mode, grab my favorite tool, the grab tool, and here I'm going to start, I can start to make adjustments on the sleeve so it's fitting around the arm a little bit better. And I'm just going to go, it's real quick here, just to give you the basic idea. Same over here. And I would do this, at the anywhere where parts are, coming together. So the sleeves and the arms. I may want to do, a little bit of work around the waist area, and then again, probably the same thing. We can tighten up the pants around the legs here. I would go through and do that too. But now this is definitely a lot closer, to a finished model. Go back into object mode. Now it's kind of, you take your time, refine it, but then it's ready for cutting and keying. And I have videos for how I cut and key in Mesh Mixer. But I want to show you how to cut this model in Blender because it's a whole lot faster than cutting in Mesh Mixer. So we'll start by cutting this arm. So you notice the arm, it goes into the body here like so. I want to take a look at something though first. I'm going to hide the torso here, and we've got this little, this is because from twisting the arm, the mesh starts to twist around itself. So I'm going to smooth that out first. I'm going to go to Object, Sculpt Mode, grab my smooth brush, and I'm just going to smooth that out. And got that same little thing right there. I'm going to smooth that out and like so. And I bet we got the same thing on this one because we moved that one even more. Yep, there it is. So I'm going to smooth that little nub out. That happens if you twist too far with the pose mode. It does some weird things to the mesh. So I want to just fix that first before I start cutting. So that's probably fine. Bring back the arm. Yeah, there's that little nub there. So select that, go into sculpt mode, and clean that up. Okay. Now we can turn everything back on. All right, so you can see how the arm, how much it goes into the torso. So we want that flush. So we'd want to use the torso to cut the arm. So we do this with Boolean difference. So I'm going to select the arm, go hit this wrench over here to go to my modifiers. Hit add modifier. I'm going to hit search, and Boolean comes up first here. I want to select Boolean, and I'm doing a Boolean difference, and using object to apply that difference. So the object that I'm using to subtract from the arm is the body here. So I can either click in here and then select the part that I want to use to cut. Now, because I didn't rename them, it's really hard to know which one I need to use. But if I click this eyedropper tool, I can now just click on the object I want to use to cut. And you're going to see that this part's going to disappear when I do that. So I click, takes a second to process, but there we go. Now we got a nice clean flush cut between the arm and the torso. Now, modifiers aren't real until you apply them. If I were to export this arm out right now, it would still have that piece attached to it. So I need to apply that. So within the modifier here, click here, hit apply, and now it's real. So we'll do the same thing on this arm here. Hit add modifier, search, grab Boolean, using difference, eyedropper tool, click on the arm, and there, nice clean cut. Apply it right away. And now I've got nice cuts here. So I would repeat that process for all the parts. Then I can go ahead and start to export these out. Right now, I would do my keying in Mesh Mixer. That's what I'm really comfortable with. Eventually, when I learn how to key properly in Blender, I can do another video, but go see my video for cutting and keying in Mesh Mixer. Skip right to the keying part, because this is the fastest way to cut that I'm finding. So hopefully this was helpful.